Okay, so we've gotten a little bit further now. We've put in most of what we're going to need to make the lots for the front and backyard work, but I know there's some things that we're still missing. We haven't made connections in the database, and we haven't fixed up some stuff that we might need to change here in the managers, and our town object loader is actually going to be loading up the stuff from the farming town, which is not desirable. So we'll just hit play and we'll take a look at the craziness that's going on right now. So you can see we've got an error that says there's no available lots to use. That doesn't mean the lot doesn't exist. It's just not being properly assigned. You can see that there's trees growing in my underwater city. Probably not ideal, although they're very pretty here. We can go to see if our teleporters are working. So you can go to and from. Although you notice I came out of a random door there, like it's not, these are working, but they're not assigned, so they're not properly linked up. But that's okay, we can fix all that later. For now, it's good to know that our basic areas at least work. Okay, so let's hit stop and let's start addressing some of these issues. So the first one we'll maybe take a look at is the managers. So these are what sets for the player is going to start. These are what shuffle, and they help shuffle the players around to where they need to go. So we can see that this manager for the main area for Coraltown is starting players off in there on the center, the spawn point key that's set as center. So I think that's this one here, if I'm correct. Yes, it is. So that's set as Coraltown center. Maybe we'll actually move that so it is in the center. And then we have the other managers, the player lot manager, and this is the one I imagine that's giving us trouble. Yeah, okay, so it's set to front yard, which you'll remember was the name of the lots in the front yard lot in farming. So, but we've renamed things, so our front yard lots are now called house entrance. So that's, you can see here it wants the lot type, that was the lot type, so we're gonna rename that. Maximum per player, just one is fine. Assign when player joins is fine. Teleport player on join, that means it's going to take you to the teleporter in front of your house when you join. Spawn point key is set to road. That's because the farm actually has 3 spawn points in front of each house. We only have 1 right now, so I think we can just leave that blank. So we'll just delete that. Okay, so let's hit save and let's hit play and see what happens now. Okay, so that seemed to have taken care of the error. That's all that was. The player lot manager wasn't working. I should not have jumped out of the way because that just teleported me away from my house. Oh, I can't use the teleport button yet. I'll figure that out. So let's just hit play so it puts me back in front of my own house again for now. I'll make it more obvious which house is yours later. We'll make it like flashier and make some stuff that only the owner can see. But again, don't need to worry about that right now. So this now says Punkarella Summers. That's good. That's me. And obviously it'd be better if I was swimming. And when I came back out of my own door. So, alright, so that's some problems fixed. That's good. Now, another place that I know some of the stuff gets reference a little bit. Oh, maybe I should rename this to just name this to map. So another place we're gonna have to change things is up in the database. So let's take a look there. We've got crafting, gatherables, inventory, placeables, producers and buffs, stores and currencies, shared and upgrades. The things that have the most to do with the stuff that we just created is going to be, there's some stuff in placeable limits that's going to have to do with it. So these names are, sorry, it's not that table. It's Yeah, so you see front yard placeables, backyard placeables. You'll remember those were some of the things that we renamed. Those were the old names. And these are IDs for limits as well. So this is one place that we'll need to change them. So this is a replicator ID. So instead of front yard placeables and backyard placeables, we now have house entrance placeables is what used to be the front yard. And we have main room placeables for what used to be the backyard. So that's fine. We're just we'll leave these in here for now, but so these are referencing what we saw in that other table. So if you look here, this says front yard soil, and then it limits soil to 25. And then I've listed that here as one of the limits for the house entrance placeable. So when we decide what these placeable limit names will be, then we'll come back and we'll change these. But for now, I'll leave them like this just so that I understand the connection. I'll hit File, Save All to save what I did to that limit thing. So another place that I know that those new values we've added has changed is in Gatherables. So we've got a few different tables in Gatherables. This one is the actual individual objects, like the settings for, say, barrels or a tree or a rock. Each of those has an ID and is listed here. States is the artwork for each of those things. So the ID here will match the ID in this table, but this one is just going to be a bunch of these asset references where you drag in the templates that will spawn. And then the last one is going to be this gatherable groups, and this is the one that we've already done something that affects. So you'll see they have an ID here, front yard debris, backyard debris, forest trees, quarry rocks. These are each of these is a group of gatherables that can be spawned, and that ID needs to match the one that we put inside. It was our house inside where we were going to potentially have some junk for you to clean up. So that's the one that we need to make match here. So the gatherable group ID, that's what this needs to be. So gatherable group ID for that is going to be main room debris. And we're just going to overwrite this one here. Now I don't remember which. I left one of the gatherable areas intact for us to use as an example. So let's just see what I've got here. So I left the quarry. So I'm going to delete some of these unneeded ones because I just know we're not going to need them. So we need a main room, but we don't need that one. And we don't need the forest trees. We don't need the forest random. And we'll use the quarries two types of group as our examples when we're setting up our area. So then I'm going to see this says unique storage ID. Anywhere you see that, make sure that each of these numbers in it is its own distinct number, like 1, 2, 3, 4. It's best if you just keep them in order so you don't make a mistake on that. It's very important because if those overlap, you'll get strange bugs in behavior. So you'll notice that this main room debris one that we changed the name of, it is still referencing the old template, and that's fine because we haven't built a gatherable group for that yet. That's okay. We'll do that soon. So that's all that we need to at least initially change here. So one of the other things that we noticed was that there was a bunch of trees loading up in the middle of town, which is probably not ideal. But what we do want to be loading is actually all these little houses, right? The doors and the little porches come in with the individual house templates, but these are just like decorative art for town. So these, I've just called them rock, maybe I'll just call them rock home shapes. So we really want to load those up with an object loader. So we're going to put those down here. I'm going to check if this thing is zeroed out. It is. Okay. And we're going to make a new group. Loader, and then we're going to decide what to name it. What area. So no, it's art for an area. Rock, home, shapes. And we'll have a new group inside there. We do want all of these to have collision on them. Pull those inside of there and then ungroup them. That's fine. If I think that I've done a lot of object swapping and I might have got a bunch of weird names, I often will select all the art in a folder and right click and hit rename objects to match asset names, because it makes your life easier when stuff is named accurately. Okay. And then we'll add static to this name, because again, we're going to load it into the static folder, or the static reference. So we'll create a new template from this. We're going to rename this loader because it's about to load something different. It's going to load rock home shapes. We're going to clear the client one because we're not going to use that one. And we'll bring in the rock home shapes one. So we should be able to, since it's in this loader now, we should be able to delete the one that's actually in the scene. And we should be able to hit save. And we no longer see them there, but let's see if they reappear when we hit play. And yes, they do. So all our entrances load up and all our house shapes load up and the trees are gone. So this is looking much better. Okay, let's see if there's any obvious tasks here. So, okay, another thing that we haven't really adjusted yet is the spawn points and the portals. So we deleted the forest, so we don't need those. We'll just get rid of those right away. We already moved the center one, right? That was the one we moved to here. And we have another spawn point called the quarry. Now, the first area that I add to this map is actually probably going to be sort of a castle-y area through this big thing. But for now, we're just going to move our portal. It looks like our target has gotten strangely placed in there, so we'll just change that again. So we've got this. Again, we're going to want it to point away from the door. So then we've moved the spawn point, but we also have this portal that led to that previous area. So we need that somewhere accessible. Right now it's buried in some rock, so that's not very good. So we'll just put it here. Should be fine. Let's just test and see if that area is still working or if we've broken it through something we've done. And it's still working. So you can see here's the old quarry from farming. Okay, so that's great. It's good that that's all still working and our houses are working. Things are looking very happy. Okay, I'll stop this video here and we'll start tackling some more ambitious setup in the database next.